Hello everyone, long time no see. I do apologise. If you spoke to anyone that I know in real life, anyone that knows me personally, and asked them to name one thing about me, I reckon about half of them would say that I go to the gym or that I work out, which I like to think is quite obvious, but I do realise that maybe not everyone would know that. It's not something that I try to make my personality, but unfortunately it has manifested in that way because it is a very big part of my life. I'm actually currently doing external qualifications like outside of university in personal training, gym instructing, because I love it. I like it. And I have multiple accounts on things like TikTok where I have the TikTok account that a lot of you might know me from, which is my talking about like social commentary and politics. But then also I have a gym account, which go follow my gym account. Sorry. But I thought I might combine those things today and just yap a little bit about gym culture online because it's something that I engage with a lot, like massively. Both the For You pages on, well, every account I have ever, like YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, is full of gym content, mostly gym content, and then a bit of like commentary. But I thought I'd talk about it today because in light of some things that have been happening recently with some certain celebrities and discussion of body image online, I just thought it'd be an interesting thing to talk about and to give the perspective on someone who is a consumer of this content, but also a creator of this content and who has the gym as like one of the largest parts of their life, basically. And one of the specific reasons that I was making this video is actually, first of all, I'm going to give my 2 cents on the Ariana Grande situation. I'm not going to talk about it. If you or anyone you know is suffering at the hands of an eating disorder, please get specialist help. Please contact someone. Please talk to someone. I'm not going to talk about it on here because, quite frankly, it's been talked about by so many people so much. And most of the backlash that people who talk about it get is just, oh, you're so obsessed with body image, yada, yada, yada. And it spiraled from more than just, I'm concerned about her health, and has now become some sort of like engagement bait topic, and I don't agree with that in the slightest, so I'm not going to talk about it. I've also now realised that I haven't looked at the camera once this entire time, so hello. But yeah, so I'm not going to talk about that, but what I am going to talk about is the fact that I follow a lot of creators online who make gym content, who make sort of like lifestyle, fitness, wellness content, whatever, who are in incredible shape. And it's mostly women that I follow. I don't tend to follow a lot of men. And obviously I am a woman, so this is a very female-centered perspective on the subject. But I follow a lot of women online who are number one, genetically blessed, but number two, incredibly dedicated to their craft, whatever their craft be, that weightlifting, Pilates, diet, nutrition, whatever it is. And a lot of the time, a lot of the content that I see about them, not their own content, the content I see about them is mass hate and criticism, often from not necessarily whether it's men or women, but often from other people in the gym community. Because I think there is a big divide on what people think like promoting unhealthy habits is. So if you look at someone like, I'm going to use the example because, and I do follow her, of Buff Unicorn, right? If you haven't heard of her before, she's a content creator. She makes gym content. She has for a while. She's the fluffy yogurt girl, if that means anything to anyone, but that's her. She is in insane shape. She is so unbelievably lean. She is teeny tiny woman. She's very, very strong, very physically active, obviously. I mean, her entire job, I think probably her full-time job is social media. She's literally paid to go to the gym. So of course she's going to dedicate all her time and her energy and her effort to it because that's her full-time job. She's teeny tiny woman, but has a good amount of muscle on her. She eats relatively healthy. She doesn't deny herself sweet treats when she wants them, yada, yada. So much of the discourse online that I see about her is the fact that people say she's engaging in ED habits, that she's promoting a level of thinness that is, you know, most people cannot obtain. There is a big difference between being thin and posting about your life, about your diet, because I don't think that like diet and workout isn't something that we should talk about. I think it's something that everyone should talk about. There is a difference between just being thin and posting online and posting online about being thin. And I think that and I said I wasn't going to talk about it, but this is just a good example, I think, unfortunately, a comparison. Everyone looking at Ariana Grande's old Tumblr, like, ED coded posts. That is posting about being thin. That is romanticizing, glamorizing, endorsing, whatever word you want to use, thinness. Being a person who is basically a bodybuilder, because she's at that level of, well, she wouldn't win a bodybuilding competition, don't get me wrong, but that sort of like dedication to the gym, dedication to nutrition and lifestyle, whatever, and posting about it online and being paid to post about it and whatever, is very different to being someone who is promoting a thinness, promoting a certain body type, promoting a lifestyle. It's very different. Hailey Fernandez is another amazing example. I love Hailey Fernandez. I love her. I love her content. I love her. She's great. She is not glamorizing and romanticizing being deathly thin, because, and I have to say this, people forget that lean mass is still mass, right? She is not going to only weigh 80 pounds soaking wet. She's not. First of all, she's kind of short, I think, so she's not going to weigh that much anyway. But she's got a very significant amount of muscle on her. She has a six pack. She has cap delts. Okay, she has glutes. She's not withering away. She's just incredibly lean. And I think something that a lot of people forget, a lot of people online forget, and this is the difference between people who are and aren't in a gym community, is that being really lean and being really thin are very different things. Being incredibly lean can be very, very damaging. Like, I'm not denying that in the slightest. And chasing being that lean constantly can do irreparable things to your body. If you're a woman, for example, it can completely mess up your hormones. You can, lose your menstrual cycle. You can also fall into some very bad habits of eating and exercise and whatever, trying to chase that leanness. But that is different than being incredibly thin. It's also very different in like a social sense. And this is where I'm kind of flipping on what I just said, is that I don't think a lot of the people online who do promote this leanness are actually promoting a leanness. They are just promoting being thin. And a really great example of this is, oh my God, I've just forgotten her name. I've completely forgotten her name, but actually I might not even say her name because I don't know how many people I want to go and search her. She either left her job or was asked to leave her job very recently. She was a Pilates instructor. Because of the amount of online criticism that she was getting from individuals. And I do believe it was somewhat warranted. She was, first of all, clearly incredibly ill, mentally ill, and it was making her physically ill because she was so unbelievably thin. And in a lot of people's mind, this was athleticism. This was, she's so thin, this is so great. And you think, no, it's not. Looking at her, I can tell you with 95% certainty that woman didn't have a menstrual cycle anymore, that woman was affecting her own fertility by being that thin, by being that lean. And there is a difference between leanness and thinness, there is. And I think a lot of people, whether they are or aren't in the gym community, sometimes can confuse the two and sometimes associate leanness and thinness with athleticism and health when it is not. They are not synonyms at all, and we know they're not. But moving on from that, kind of going to the other end of the spectrum and looking at people who are insanely muscular. Now, I don't know if you can or can't tell, I'm not necessarily the kind of person who's going to be chasing an extreme, teeny, tiny, lean physique. I'm a very normal-sized person, okay? I'm not trying to chase, oh my God, my waist is 24 inches. No, I don't want that. I want to look like Cora. I want to look like Shira, okay? That's my goal. That is my life goal. Anyway, and I follow a lot of women who aren't like the Hailey Fernandez, buff unicorn type thing, but a lot of women who are these like, what I think of as like a goddess walking around with masses of muscle on her, and she's so strong and she's so big. And I'm like, I want to be that. I want to look like that. But I understand a few things. I understand that, number one, it is this person's job a lot of the time to go to the gym and post about it, right? So they don't work a 9-to-5 job. They're not a full-time student. They don't have a part-time job. This is their job. Their entire career is to get jacked and post about it. Number two, they've been doing this for years. I've been doing this for years. I'm like, I'd say into like properly heavily lifting, 3 years, 3.5 maybe, maybe even 4. Oof, that's embarrassing that I've been doing this for 4 years and I'm still small. I understand that they've been doing this for an incredibly long time and that they have dedicated much of their time to this because they can and because they want to, because they like to. And number 3, and this is the thing that I think women will fail to consider the most or fail to recognize the most, is that these women online, not all of them, and I'm not accusing them, right? Okay, for example, Lean Beef Patty, I'm not accusing her at all. I'm not. But a lot of women online who have these amazing proportions, who have these basically like the Mewtwo build, right? Okay, the Cora build, they're on steroids. They are on steroids. The amount of women on steroids is insane. The amount of women in the online gym community who are on steroids is insane. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, low-key, go do what you gotta do. I get why you do it. And I'm convinced that if I could not become a bodybuilder because I know that I'm obsessive, I could never, because I would, and it's not good for your health at all, fucks up your hormones. We know this, and they know this as well. Just like to point that out, they know this. You don't have to go and tell them. Don't have to go and tell them it's going to make them sound like man. They know. They have coaches, okay? They know. They've done their research. But they are on steroids. They are. And I think because a lot of people don't associate women with steroids, they associate men with steroids because, I mean, the growth hormone that most steroids have is testosterone. Like, literally, it's called like, oh yeah, I'm on like T, testosterone, test, tren. I'm going to have to bleep them because they do get taken down by YouTube when you say those words, which is crazy. And a lot of people, don't associate women with taking steroids because it's like a manly thing, it's a man thing. But yeah, loads of women are on steroids. Those are women who lift casually, who don't compete, are on steroids. The same goes for men. Like, a lot of men who are not competing as a bodybuilder, who are just recreationally lifting, are also on steroids. There's actually a massive, what I'm going to refer to as a steroids epidemic at the moment, of very, very, very young men, mostly men, very young men on steroids. Like, men who are freshly 18 through to like 22. First of all, I don't even think your testosterone has peaked at that point. You're still, like, your testosterone is increasing as you get older, okay? You've got so much time. You are nowhere near there's this thing called the natural ceiling, which is like theoretically the maximum amount of muscle that you can build in a lifetime. You're not there yet. If you're 19 years old, why are you already taking steroids? It's unnecessary. That's the thing. It's unnecessary for a lot of people to be taking steroids, but a lot of people do. And it has become more normalized in a lot of, like, in my mind, it's actually quite a normal thing, which sucks. And it shouldn't be, because again, it is very damaging for health. And there are a lot of people who are not online, who don't have coaches, who don't have, haven't done all this research, who are just taking steroids and going, oh, I'll be fine because so-and-so takes it or so-and-so takes it. Like, I'll be fine. No, you're not going to be fine. You're not going to be fine because you're messing up your hormones. You're messing up your hormones, and you're doing, irreparable damage to your internal organs because you want to be bigger when you can get bigger naturally, very easily, as a man who's 19. Like, the things I do to have, just for like 2 months, the capabilities of a 19-year-old boy, the things I would do to have their testosterone levels for 2 months, the gains I could make. But no, I have hormone imbalances anyway. Life is ridiculous. Steroid usage has become much more normalized, and I do think that is 100% an effect of the increase of like gym influencer culture online and the gym community online, because the amount of, and it is unfortunately, when it comes to getting really big and muscular, men chasing this physique, because even in like modern day, women being super muscular isn't like something that's super normalized or loved by society, which is, I think, ridiculous. Because, side note rant here, building muscle as a woman, one of the most amazing things you can do for your long-term health. Up until, like, if you build muscle now and you keep it for a bit, it's going to help you when you're 70, when you're 80, okay? Please, any woman ever listening to this, please, I'm begging you, go and weightlift, even if it's for a few months, even if it's once a week. Please. It's amazing. It's the best thing, literally one of the best things you can do as a woman for your health. It's great. We're more likely to get things like osteoporosis. And if you lift weights, you reduce your risk of osteoporosis. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. It is mostly men chasing this massive physique. And there are so many men online who are these basically like monsters of men. And it used to be that like there would only be a few. There'd only be a few men online who were like in amazing, incredible shape, and they were so big, and people would go like, that guy is special because he looks like that. But now more and more and more people look like that, which means that this level of muscularity, like an amazingness, it means less. And now they go, okay, so everyone's here, so now this person is more amazing, but everyone gets here, so this person, and people, they constantly try and get bigger, try and get leaner, try and do more, and it's causing men who are 21 years old to look like they're 35 because they've taken so many steroids, because they've ruined their body with steroids, because they're constantly trying to chase this new extreme, this new, oh my God, look at that guy. And obviously we see this with women as well, but it's mostly in like professional bodybuilding, where the average is the average physique is no longer what the average physique was 20 years ago. You know, like every year people are getting bigger and bigger and bigger and leaner and leaner and leaner, and it just is warping the sense of what is normal or what is average, especially in these professional spaces, because what was average is now like, oh, they're nothing. Like it's so different. And a lot of the physiques that are promoted online, not in these professional spaces, not in these like professional leagues, but just to the average person, like online, are unattainable for the average person. For the average person who works 9 to 5, for the average person who isn't taking PEDs, for the average person who, isn't being paid to go to the gym, paid to create gym content, isn't being sponsored by brands, doesn't have to live a normal life. It's unattainable. It's not only is the physique unattainable, the lifestyle itself is unattainable for most people. But it's still, unfortunately, to a lot of people, is promoted and then seen as, oh, well, that's what I want to achieve. That's what I want to achieve. And now we are seeing people physically destroying themselves in an attempt to achieve the unattainable. But yeah, that's actually all I have to say about this. So yeah, what better video to film than something that combines my interests of yapping and the gym. Anyways, let me know what you think. Hope you enjoyed. I promise I'm going to post more than once every 2 months. I'm just kind of going through it. I actually think it's been like 4 months, maybe 3 since I posted. I've been going through it. But it's okay. Thanks. Bye.